Hi, everybody. Welcome to another English class here on verbaling.com. My name is Lisa, and in this hour, we're going to be doing some reading. So I have an article that I got from, where did I get it from, actually? Let's see, The Telegraph from England. And we're going to read it together, and we're going to go over the vocabulary and the expressions that are used. So if you want to join this class so you can practice your pronunciation, so you can learn some new vocabulary, and you can read about something that's kind of interesting, then you can go ahead and use your reservation now if you have one. If you don't have a reservation and you want to join this class, then just click on the Join Class button. I just put the link to the document that we're going to read up there in the Verbling chat. I can also put the link to the actual article on the actual website where I got the article from the Telegraph online, and you can join me here. So hi, welcome. Hi, Siwan, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What time is it in South Korea?
4 a.m.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing up? Did you just wake up or have you been up already?
Sorry?
Have you been up already or did you just wake up?
Wake up.
You just woke up. Oh my gosh, wow. Why so early? To take English classes?
Yes,
Wow.
I want to take English class every 4 a.m.
Wow. That's amazing. And
from
what
today.
every day you've been doing that?
From today.
Oh, okay. And what are you going to do after the class?
I don't know.
Are you going to go back to sleep or are you going to get up and go do stuff?
And preparing for go to school.
Oh my gosh. What time do you have to be to school?
Actually, not not. I just go. That's not the exact time because
Mhm.
I'm graduate student. So, but I like to go early.
You like to go early? Yeah. How long does it take you to get to school?
1 hour and more, about 1 hour.
Wow. On the train?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you sleep on the train?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow, yeah. Well, today you're probably going to sleep after waking up so early. That's so early. Wow. Okay, Andre. Hi, Andre. Welcome back. What's up?
I'm glad to see you again, teacher.
Glad to see you. All right. Well, hopefully you can incorporate some of those idiomatic expressions when you're talking to people now. I think you can find some ways to use those. We'll see. Okay, Siwan, we were just doing a idiom class in the last hour.
Sorry, teacher. It's difficult to use all the vocabulary and idiomatic expression and phrasal verbs during the speech because we haven't enough time for
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, we could have talked more. Yeah, you just learned about them, and so now we have to keep going over them and using them. So I'll try to bring them into some other classes as well. So it's good to be exposed to things, and then the next time you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. What did it mean? And then
Yes.
every time you see it again, you'll understand it more. So yeah.
Yes, I have a list of most usual vocabulary and idiomatic expression
Hmm.
right in front of my eyes. And
Nice. That's good. All right. Well, let's go to our article. Let's see if we might come across some idiomatic expressions there as well. You know, a lot of those idiomatic expressions, they're most found in reading. So if you like to read books, or if you like to read articles, that's probably one of the best ways to learn new vocabulary words and new expressions and things, because even in your own language, that's how you build up your vocabulary. So in English, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time to read, but if you do have time to read, it's a good idea to read as much as possible. Whatever you like, whatever you think is interesting and fun for you. So it doesn't have to be textbooks or things like that.
I'd want to say that it's reading. It's not so difficult how it's trying to speak.
Yes. Yeah, reading.
Speaking and listening. It's most difficult.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Reading helps you come across the language, so you can hear it, you can see the words, and then because you can kind of try to figure out what they mean in the context. So it helps you learn words, so then later when you hear them, maybe you're listening to the news or something, you'll say, oh yeah, I remember I read that word. Now I kind of, every time you hear it, you'll start understanding it more and more. So it kind of works all together, of course. And then, of course, speaking is production. So it's when you actually have to produce something and make yourself understood. And the more you try to use the things that you're learning, in whether you're learning them from reading or from classes or from studying, vocabulary or something, the more you try to use them, then the better you're going to get. So it's good when you try to use these expressions, phrasal verbs, whatever, rather than just understanding them when you read them or understanding them when you hear them. Now you can actually put them into your own language and how you express yourself. So it's a process. It takes time, but you'll get there. You already learned 2 languages, Andre, so you're doing good.
Yes, thank you, teacher.
All right.
English it's my third one.
Your third one. Okay, awesome. Great. Siwon, do you guys in South Korea, do you study other languages?
Yes, nowadays many people learn Chinese and French.
Okay, yeah. All right. Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, let's read. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo, Siwon, from you.
Sorry.
Yeah, just mute it while I'm reading at least. Okay, cool. All right, so this article I took from The Telegraph, which is from the UK. And so when we read articles from the UK, of course, they have the English, British English spelling and also vocabulary. So it's a little bit different than the American English, but you have to know it, and we have to know it too. So it's a good practice to read English and listen to English from different people with different accents, different ways of talking, different vocabulary, because that's just the reality of the English world. So here we have this picture, and the title is French Celebrity Chefs Cook Dustbin Banquet. So what are they talking about? Let's figure out what is going on. So, Andre, when you read the title, what do you think the article is going to be about? What do you understand with the word celebrity? French celebrity chefs. Do you know that word, celebrity?
Yes, it's famous people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
French chief cook. It's about can I read that part?
Yeah, but I want to just make sure we understand these words first. So French, we know they're from France. Celebrity means they're famous. Chefs, they're the people who prepare food in restaurants and things. And they're going to cook, and then they have this in quotes, a dustbin banquet. So a dustbin means trash. We say trash can. In the United States, we would say the trash can or the garbage. And then a banquet is a kind of a fancy meal, like a meal for a lot of people. When you have a banquet, it's kind of like you're having a party, but it's the food that you eat. the banquet there. It's for a lot of people. All right, so they're going to be using food from the garbage can, trash can, or from, you know, food that you would otherwise throw away in the garbage can. They're going to make a big meal for a lot of people out of that. So that's the idea. All right. Yeah.
Sorry. Did he make foods from dustbin?
Yeah, we're gonna read that. Exactly. All right. So I will read, and then you guys can read too. So French celebrity chefs cook dustbin banquet. 5 Michelin-starred French chefs prepare a banquet for 5,000 entirely from ingredients rescued from the bin. 5 celebrity chefs launched a campaign on Tuesday to encourage the French to throw away less food by concocting a banquet for 5,000 people entirely from ingredients that were about to be binned. Okay, Andrew, why don't you go ahead and read the whole thing now?
I understand now
Cool.
the meaning of that article.
Awesome.
Okay. French celebrity chefs cooks dustbin banquet. 5 Michelin-starred French chefs prepare a banquet for 500 entirely from 500 entirely from ingredients rescued from the bin. 5 celebrity chefs launched a campaign on Tuesday to encourage the French to throw away less food by concocting a banquet for 5,000 people entirely from ingredients that were about to be binned.
To be binned, we say.
Binned.
Binned. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things here. So 5 Michelin starred. So Michelin star, that, have you guys ever heard of that before? Michelin stars?
Starred Michelin, 5 Michelin starred. No.
Okay.
I didn't hear that before.
It's a rating. So in Europe and in other places, they go around and they give chefs stars, and it's like a rating system. So if you have 5 stars, you're like the best. So it's just a way to show that these are the best French chefs. So they're going to prepare this banquet, this big meal, and they're going to use ingredients that they have rescued from the bin. So these were some things, some food that was going to be binned, to be thrown away in the trash can. All right, so that was the subtitle there. And so the first paragraph, which you read, so 5 of these guys, they launched a campaign. So to launch means to start, and a campaign is like what you want to educate people about. So they're going to be doing all these events and, you know, printing out things and advertising to try to educate people in France, try to encourage them, which means to try to, you know, let them know that they don't have to throw away all the food. They want them to throw away less food. And so what they're doing is they're concocting. Concocting means creating. They're creating a banquet. They're coming up with this banquet, which is, like I said, a big meal for 5,000 people. And they're going to use only the ingredients, so entirely from ingredients that were about to be binned. So these are ingredients that they were going to throw away in the trash can, is how we would say it. The dustbin feast was prepared in huge 500-liter pots with the help of 52 apprentice chefs in a square in Lille, northern France, and the exploit was due to be shown on national television on Tuesday night. The restricted but sophisticated menu included fish roulette, potato and endive velouté, and a tandoori vegetable stew. Okay, Siwan, read that.
Oh, is it okay? Do I have echo?
No, you're fine now. Oh, yeah, you do have an echo, but that's okay. I'll stop talking.
The The dustbin feast was prepared in huge 500-liter pots with the help of 52 apprentice chefs in a square in Lille, northern France, and the exploit was due to be shown on national television on Tuesday night. The restricted but sophisticated menu included fish, relates, potato and endive volant, and a tandoori vegetable stew.
Okay, so let's go over some words. Hi, Andre. Welcome.
Hi, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, so the dustbin feast. So a feast is like a big meal, right? And they're calling it the dustbin feast or dustbin banquet because, like they said, this would be food that people would usually throw away in the dustbin or the trash can. All right, so they prepared these in huge meaning gigantic, very large pots, and they had 52 apprentice. So the pronunciation is apprentice chefs. So apprentice means you're learning. So you're not a master chef yet, but you are learning from a master chef. All right, so they were helping them out, and the reason why they're doing this, they want to show people. They're going to show this on national television. So the exploit means the feast, this event that they're doing. They're going to show it on national television on Tuesday night. Okay, then these words here, the restricted. So restricted means limited. So they couldn't just use any ingredients. They were restricted or limited to using only the ingredients that were going to be thrown away. But they came up with a sophisticated menu. So sophisticated in this case means like, fancy, gourmet. So one of the things are these fish relates. So it's better just to get a picture. So something like this. So kind of fancy food. It's not just really simple, easy food. It's gourmet food. So that's the relates. And then the other thing that they had were, what did they say? The potato and endive velouté. So again, let's just look up a picture of that. It's easier to find a picture than for me to explain it. Just a way, some kind of food. So very kind of fancy gourmet food, as you can see. All right, so that's what they're going to make. And a tandoori. Tandoori is like Indian food, spicy Indian vegetable stew. A stew is like a soup. Okay? All right, so I've never had to cook as large a quantity as this, said Yves Cambord, a chef from the Basque Country. People are wrong to think that ingredients that don't look pretty aren't good to eat. The Michelin-starred chefs began their preparations with crates of bruised, misshapen potatoes and stringy, overripe avocados collected from supermarkets and groceries that were about to throw them away. They were all free. Okay, Andre.
Okay, teacher. Since I've
Yes, exactly.
okay. I've never had to cook as large a quantity as this, said Ives Cambord, a chief from the Basque Country. People are wrong to think that ingredients that don't look pretty aren't good to eat. The Michelin-starred chefs began their preparations with crates of bruised mishpen potatoes and a string, all very ripe, avocados collected from supermarkets and the grocers that were about to throw them away. They were all free.
Good. Okay, so he's quoting this guy from the Basque Country. That's from the French part of the Basque countries in southern France. Okay, so I I wanted to just point out as large a quantity as. So just talking, he's saying that he has never cooked that big, that much food. Usually gourmet cooks cook really small amounts of food, actually, and they charge you a lot of money. But so he's cooking for a large amount of people. So 5,000 guests is what they were cooking for.
Wow.
Yeah. He says people are wrong to think. So, just because your ingredients, the food, they don't look pretty, he wants you to know that it doesn't mean they're not good to eat. So they are good to eat still. And that's why they're showing you can make gourmet meals even with these foods that kind of look bad, So they started with crates. A crate is like a big, huge box, right? And so they're using bruised. So bruised means like when you get a piece of fruit, it's kind of brown, maybe somebody dropped it or it's getting a little bit old, and so it's kind of brown. Misshapen potatoes, like they don't look perfect, like perfect round potatoes, but maybe they have bumps and things. They're a different shape than usual. And stringy, overripe avocados. So if you think of an avocado, when it gets overripe, it kind of has this, they call it stringy, like little strips, and kind of starts getting brown and that kind of stuff. And they've collected all of this stuff, all these ingredients, from supermarkets and grocery stores that were going to throw them away. So, therefore, they got it all free. To allay any fears of food poisoning, all the ingredients were checked by health authorities. The creator of the program, Cyril Lignac, said, "If you want to make a better tomato sauce, it's better to buy tomatoes in the market that are a bit damaged, riper, and less expensive." Okay, Andre?
To allay any fears of food poisoning, all the ingredients were checked by the health authorities. The creator of the program, Cyril Lignac, said, if you wanna make a better tomato sauce, it's better to buy tomatoes in the market that are a bit damaged, riper, and less expensive.
So to allay any fears means to make sure people weren't afraid. So to let go of any of those fears, or to make sure nothing is wrong with the food, that none of this is bad food just because it's a little bit older and it doesn't look so good. They had some people check it, some health authorities. So a health authority is somebody who works in the health department in a city, and they checked the food to make sure it was all good, it wasn't going to make anybody sick. And then, let's see, so the creator of the program, the person who kind of started this and had the idea, he's saying that it's better, anyways, if you want to make a tomato sauce, you don't need perfect tomatoes. It's better if they're a bit damaged. So damaged means like maybe they have some bumps in them or somebody dropped them or something like that. Riper, so the pronunciation is riper.
Riper.
Yeah, so when you're talking about fruits and vegetables, they are either unripe, that means they're not really ready to eat, or they are ripe, or they can be overripe or riper. So it's like what a tomato is really ripe. It's like starting to get a little softer. And
ripe, and is the opposite is unripe.
Unripe, yeah, right, not ripe.
Okay, unripe.
Or like sometimes we also say it's green. Like if it's green, like a banana, for example, has to be ripe for you to eat it. And if it's a green banana, then you don't really want to eat it. It's not yet ripe. You gotta wait for your fruit to be ripe.
That apples doesn't ready to eat yet.
Right. When it's unripe. Right. It's too hard. Maybe it's not sweet. Something like that. Okay. Another of the chefs, Philip H. Best, said, "We only knew at the last moment what types of food we had. We had to improvise the menu. Mr. Lignac, 36, the owner and chef of a Paris restaurant and the presenter of Top Chef on French TV, said, "Millions of tons of food go in the dustbin every year, so we decided to look for a good way to show on TV how it can be avoided." Okay, Siwan?
Another of the chef, Philippe Etchebest, said, "We only knew at the last moment what types of food we had. We had to improvise the menu." Mr. Rignac, 36, the owner and chef of a Paris restaurant and the presenter of Top Chef on French TV, said, "Millions of tons of food go in the dustbin every year, so we decide to look for a good way to show on TV how it can be avoided."
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks. All right. Okay, so they only knew at the last moment. So because, they were just getting food that was going to be thrown away, they didn't really know. They couldn't plan a menu because they weren't choosing their food. They were just getting it from before it went to the dustbin or to the trash can. So they had to improvise. When you improvise something, you make it up. If you're a chef and you improvise, you just say, "Okay, I'm going to make something out of these ingredients." You don't necessarily have a recipe or something like that. You can all. What?
Sorry, teacher.
Yeah.
Improvise. It's similar to diversify. Yeah?
No. Improvise means you have to create something like right now from what you have. It's versus like a plan. So if you have a plan or a recipe, you just follow the plan or you follow the recipe. But if you don't have a recipe, you don't have a plan, you make it up as you go. You just have to use whatever you have. Whatever you can do right now, you just do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So in acting, there's something called improvisation. And so, sometimes when you go to a theater, you're going to watch a play, right? And they've already rehearsed it all the time, and everybody knows what they're going to say. And in the audience, you just watch, and they're following their plan that they've already rehearsed and practiced a lot. But when you go to watch some people do improvisation, they're making it up. They haven't rehearsed it. They don't know what is going to happen. And it can be really funny a lot of times. It can be really silly and funny because they're making it up. But in this case, the chefs, they gave, if you have like a potato and an avocado and a tomato and, some greens, and you say, "Okay, make something." You just have to improvise. You have to use what you have to do something. You can't follow a recipe because you can't say, "Well, I need cheese," or "I need chicken." No, we have none of that. You have to make it out of this. That's what they had to do. That's what
feel free for making something.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Just make it up. Create. Yeah. You have to use your creativity when you improvise. Okay, so let's see. This guy, he's an owner and chef, and he's the presenter of this is a TV show, Top Chef. We have these also in the United States where they do like competitions and stuff between chefs. And so this is what he's saying: millions of tons of food. So tons is like a measurement of food. So lots and lots of tons of food go in the dustbin. So are put in the dustbin or put into the trash every year. So lots of food going to waste, we could say. So he just wants to show on TV that you can avoid this. You don't have to throw away food, even if it looks a little bit ugly or it's not so pretty as usual, and maybe it's a little bit too ripe or something. Okay, he said the French waste an average of 20 kilograms or 44 pounds of food each per year. The chefs took out full-page newspaper advertisements sponsored by a TV channel to publicize the program and their campaign. We recycle food in restaurants, said Ghislaine Arabia, as she poured nutmeg into a huge plastic container. We use fish and chicken bones to make stock. Okay, Andre.
Okay. It said the French waste in a average of 20 kilo for 44 pounds of food each per year. The chiefs took out full-page newspapers advertisement is sponsored by a TV channel to publicize the program in their campaign. Recycle food in restaurants, said Ghislaine Arabian as she poured nutmeg into a huge plastic container. We use fish and chicken bones to make stock.
Yeah, good. All right. So he is saying that the French waste. So to waste means you're not using it. You're just throwing it away, but you could use it. So if you're wasting food, it means you're not using it when you actually could. So on average, it's a lot. So 20 kilograms of food each per year. So each person per year is wasting that much food, throwing out that much good food, throwing out that good food. So they're taking out. So to take out a full-page newspaper advertisement means to pay for it. So we say we took out an ad or an advertisement in the paper, and full page just means the advertisement is taking up a whole page in the newspaper, not just a tiny little spot on the newspaper. And the people who are paying for it is the TV channel. So sponsored by, when somebody sponsors something, they pay for it. So the TV channel is paying for them to publicize, to advertise, to let people know about the program and the campaign. The program is the TV program, but also the campaign, which is what they want people to learn about, educate them. This person is saying, we recycle food in restaurants, as she poured, so she's pouring nutmeg, which is a spice, into some container. And she says, we use fish and chicken bones to make stock. So when you make stock, you put chicken bones or fish bones in with water, and then you boil it, and it makes this what we call stock, and then you can use that to make soups or sauces and things like that. So that's what they do in restaurants already. Instead of just throwing out the bones, they do that. As the cooking smells wafted through the cobbled lanes of Lille's old town, a long crowd formed to sample the chef's creations. When you taste something this good, it really makes you think about waste, said Anna, 20, a student. Okay, Siwan.
As the cooking smells wafted through the cobbled lanes of Lille's old town, a long crowd formed to sample the chef's creation. When you taste something this good, it really makes you think about waste, said Anna, 20, a student.
Okay, good. All right, so the smells wafted through. So wafted, you think of when you're cooking, and you can smell it. That's like kind of like in the air, and so it's like moving around in the air. So we talk about smells wafting through the cobbled lanes. The cobbled lanes means the streets. So the streets of Lille, old town, are probably old stones. That's how they made roads back in the old days. And so people are smelling the whatever they are cooking. So it smells good. And so they say a long crowd. So a lot of people were already formed in a line to sample, to taste. They wanted to try it. To sample something means to try it. They wanted to try the chef's creation. So whatever the chefs came up with, the menu that they made, the food that they made. And then the person who had it said it tasted really good. So when you think of, when you taste something this good, so really good, it really makes you think about waste, about, the fact that probably all that food would have been wasted because they would have thrown it out into the dustbin or the trash can or the rubbish or whatever you want to call that. We have lots of words for that. So before we talk about the article, does anybody have any questions about any of the vocabulary or the language that's used in the article? Something you want me to explain?
No, it's okay.
How was it for you, Andre? Is it something you can understand pretty well?
Could you show the last part?
The last paragraph, yes, I can.
One more time.
Yes.
Thank you, teacher. And wrote. Thank you, teacher. I understand that clearly.
Okay.
There is a few of strange word for me, but I don't sure that I'm be able to memorize them all.
Yeah,
and using them in my active everyday vocabulary.
Yeah, right. And so that, just like when you were younger and you had to start somewhere, this is where you start. And you just keep reading, you keep listening, and pretty soon, you learned 100 new words, 200 new words, and now pretty much anything you read, at some point, anytime you read or listen to something, you're going to basically be able to understand it. So it's just a process, and besides, if you can understand a lot of this article, then you are already using English. The goal, this is the only thing you have to be able to do in English is read, listen, speak. You might have to write a little bit, depending on why you're learning English. But you're using English right now when we're reading this article.
Yeah, I think it's most important that we able to understand the main idea of article.
Yes, right. So Andre, if you told somebody about this article, what would you tell them is the main idea? What's the main idea of this article?
It's main idea that in the France there are a lot of foods that just throwing away.
Right. People throw away.
That a huge amount of foods would be used for prepare a lot of useful dishes.
Right. Yeah. Right. Siwan, what would you tell somebody about this article?
In France, there was a campaign for do not waste food.
Yeah, that's right. And right. What did they do to show people not to waste food?
They made food using throw away.
Yeah.
The food that thrown away.
Right. They used write it in the verb link chat. They used food that they were going to throw away to make a meal. Okay. Andre, how would you explain this, the main idea of this article to somebody who didn't read it?
I think that they want to show how can have less and less waste of food in French, and they showed some things important to don't have waste.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And how did they? What way did they choose to show people how to not waste so much food? What did the chefs do?
My gosh. Here in the first paragraph, let me see. Here in the first paragraph, Michelin he prepared.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. They prepared what? What did the chefs prepare?
A banquet to 5 interiors, 5,000 pesos.
5,000. Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you missed that part. So you came in a little later.
Okay. With some foods which are would be waste in the give and they encourage the people which who live in France to do not throw away the food.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. It's something. Okay.
So let's talk about it now. So I think you guys all understood the main idea. So these French chefs prepared, or they created, or they made some food for a banquet for 5,000 people. That's a lot of people. And and the purpose of that meal is to show how you can make good food using ingredients that you might want to throw away. You might see them in your refrigerator and think, this food isn't good anymore. I'm just going to throw it away. But instead, you could actually use it to make a meal. So
That exactly that I wanted to say.
Good. There, I helped you. So let's see. Would you guys want to go and eat this food? Would you eat the food that it wasn't from the dustbin? So it's not like they got food from the trash can already. It's just food that you would throw away because maybe it doesn't look so good anymore. So Andre, would you go eat this meal that these chefs prepared?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, why not? Free food.
Yes, exactly. Yes, definitely, definitely yes. It was for pleasant. Yeah. Yes, seriously.
Yeah, I would. Why not? Sounds good. Because Andre from Brazil, we talked about it at the beginning, and I just wanted to share with you this idea of Michelin starred. That is telling you that these are the top-rated chefs in France. So they're not just some people who are kind of good. These are like the best chefs. So they're getting these ingredients, and you just trust that they're going to be able to make something amazing because they're very skilled. They have a lot of experience and practice creating yummy food. So yeah.
I hope that the people who went there start, begin could begin to prepare food like that. It's
Yeah, like that.
it's a sustainable soup.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Sustainable.
I hope so, because
Yeah,
it's very important.
yeah. Well, I think I'm just gonna show you this. This is the guy right here, so we can see who's doing this. Here's the guy, Cyril Lignac.
Oh,
He's
it's new.
a
Oh,
chef.
Young
handsome
chef.
guy.
He's a young guy. Yeah, he's a young guy.
I think yes.
Did you think he would be older?
No,
I think maybe for 45 years old or something like that.
He's 36. Yeah.
36. Okay.
36,
Okay.
the same age as I am.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So he's the guy who wants to tell people, look, you don't have to throw away your food. You can use this food. And this is his website here. So you can see that he makes some pretty nice looking food and has a restaurant and stuff in Paris. There you go, in Paris. So Siwan, what do you think about this? Do you ever think about the waste, like how much food maybe you throw away or people throw away? Do you ever think about that?
Teacher, I can do a question.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Those pictures are those pictures in the sorry, those food in those pictures are food which that's idea or no food is sustainable. Do you know?
Really, it is.
Crazy much question.
I think that picture is just from restaurant. Maybe she muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. Sorry. I was muted. Yeah, Andre, this website that I'm showing you, this is his website, the Chef's Reps website. But the type of food that they made was, fancy food. So we call it gourmet food. So something like, I don't know, maybe something like this they made. We're not really sure exactly what they made.
Sorry, teacher.
Okay.
Keep your microphone away from the computer.
Yeah, there's a lot of echo. Now is it echoing?
No, it's better. Thank you, teacher.
Okay. So they use some different kinds of food, but the main idea was that, this is where it would have ended up. People like in the compost bin or in the trash can or something, and instead they took this food and they made something out of it. So that's it.
I think that now the after that a lot of people would be more mm, uh,
Yeah.
uh, mm, uh, responsible relying to their foods.
Uh-huh.
That
Yeah.
that chief this he's encouraged other people don't throw away a lot of foods.
Right. Exactly. That's what he's trying to show you. Like, this food is still good. You can use it. That's what the main idea is. So this is a picture of maybe the chefs that were going to cook. I can't find a picture of the food that they actually made yet, but those are the people who are going to cook. All right. Well, so let's let Siwan talk. Siwan, do you ever think about food and throwing away food, or do you like to cook?
Yes, actually, my church is Green Church.
Ah, uh-huh.
So this month, this campaign is to do not waste the food.
Uh-huh. Not to waste food.
Yeah, and my family, uh, we ate all of food every meal.
You could say, we clean our plates.
Yes, we clean our plate.
Wow, that's good. And Andre, do you clean your plate when you eat dinner or breakfast?
So, teacher, could you repeat?
Yeah. Do you always eat all your food on the plate? You clean your plate?
Yes, I'm always clean my plate and always rest my plate cleaner, cause I have that behavior from my childhood. My mother always told me to make my plate clean.
Aha, to eat all your food.
Yes, yes.
Eat it all.
Uh, thinking for my mother.
Thank you to your mother, yeah. So, and what about you, Andre? In Brazil, do you usually eat all your food or do you throw some stuff away?
To be honestly, sometimes I throw away. To be honestly, but the most times I um I clean my plates.
Yeah. What about food in general in Brazil? Do you think people like the supermarkets and stuff? Do they throw away a lot of good food?
Oh my gosh! Unfortunately, it's a sad it, it's a sad thing which happen happen here. Sad situation. Thank you, teacher.
There you go.
Um, mm, in Brazil, we are a big country, and unfortunately, there are many people who wish who have a necessity here,
Yeah.
um, and then it will be good if guys like those you showed for us here uh, started to teach the people
Mm,
um, to don't waste food,
mm.
something like that. It will be very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting because the thing about fresh food, like fruits, vegetables, meats, chicken, you have to use it, right? You can't just let it sit there. Not like, boxes of cereal or something. You can leave that on your counter, but if you don't use your food, then it does start going bad, and then you have to throw it out. So having a lot of fresh food around means you have to use it. So that's like the trick there. Siwan, what about in South Korea? Do you think that people throw away a lot of food that they could use?
Could use.
Yes, I think. Yes, so we have similar campaign.
Is that a new campaign? Or has people been saying that for a long time?
We have some TV campaign.
Oh.
And yeah, so they encourage you to
use all the food that you have.
Yeah.
Andre, it sounds like your mom had the same idea to not waste food. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that what you're teaching your son too? Andre?
What? Sorry, teacher. Could you repeat?
Yes. Is that what you're teaching your son too?
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, fortunately, now we don't live together with my son, because we have been divorced with my wife, but we live together. I always told him to get rid that bad habits.
Yeah.
I said him that it's the bad habits, especially for boys.
Oh, yeah, because boys can eat a lot of food. Just eat your food. Eat your food. That's what we say here. Eat your food, clean your plate. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, for coming. And I'm glad you participated. Does anybody want to say anything or have a question before we finish?
No. It was a very useful class. I think it makes my ears 30 for the next one.
Okay. Great. Juan, did you want to?
Yes. When I see the title, I thought that they use dustbin.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah, that was a very interesting article.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are people who actually do use food also from the dustbin. So those are garbage, what do they call them? Garbage divers or something like that. You can look that up. Also, there are people who are dumpster divers. They go in and they find things from the trash can and then use them. Sometimes food too. So. But this isn't it. Just use food. You don't have to go to the trash can to get the food. Okay, guys, thanks for coming to class, and I'll see you there again. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye for now.
Bye for
Thank
now.
you, teacher. Bye-bye.
Reading, it's not so difficult how it's trying to speak.
Yes. Yeah, reading.
Speaking and listening, it's most difficult.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Reading helps you come across the language, so you can hear it, you can see the words, and then you because you can kind of try to figure out what they mean in the context. So it helps you learn words, so then later when you hear them, maybe you're listening to the news or something, you'll say, oh yeah, I remember I read that word. Now I kind of, every time you hear it, you'll start understanding it more and more. So it kind of works all together, of course. And then, of course, speaking is production. So it's when you actually have to produce something and make yourself understood. And the more you try to use the things that you're learning, in whether you're learning them from reading or from classes or from studying, vocabulary or something, the more you try to use them, then the better you're going to get, So it's good when you try to use these expressions, phrasal verbs, whatever, rather than just understanding them when you read them or understanding them when you hear them. Now you can actually put them into your own language and how you express yourself. So it's a process. It takes time. But hi everybody, welcome to another English class here on verbaling.com. My name is Lisa, and in this hour we're going to be doing some reading. So I have an article that I got from, where did I get it from actually? Let's see, the Telegraph from England. And we're going to read it together, and we're going to go over the vocabulary and the expressions that are used. So if you want to join this class so you can practice your pronunciation, so you can learn some new vocabulary, and you can read about something that's kind of interesting, then you can go ahead and use your reservation now if you have one. If you don't have a reservation and you want to join this class, then just click on the Join Class button. I just put the link to the document that we're going to read up there in the Verbling chat. I can also put the link to the actual article on the actual website where I got the article from the Telegraph online, and you can join me here. So hi, welcome. Hi Siwan, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. What time is it in South Korea?
4 a.m.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing up? Did you just wake up or
To go early.
you like to go early? Yeah. How long does it take you to get to school?
1 hour and more. About 1 hour.
Wow. On the train?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you sleep on the train?
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow, yeah. Well, today you're probably going to sleep after waking up so early. That's so early. Wow. Okay, Andre. Hi, Andre. Welcome back. What's up?
I'm glad to see you again, teacher.
Glad to see you. All right. Well, hopefully you can incorporate some of those idiomatic expressions when you're talking to people now. I think you can find some ways to use those. We'll see. Okay, Siwan, we were just doing a idiom class in the last hour.
So, teacher, it's difficult to use all the vocabulary and idiomatic expression and phrasal verbs during the speech because we haven't enough time for
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, we could have talked more. Yeah, you just learned about them, and so now we have to keep going over them. And have you been up already?
Sorry?
Have you been up already, or did you just wake up?
Wake up.
You just woke up. Oh my gosh! Wow. Why so early? To take English classes?
Yes,
Wow.
I want to take English class every 4 a.m.
Wow. That's amazing. And
from
what
today.
every day you've been doing that?
From today.
Oh, okay. And what are you going to do after the class?
Mm, I don't know.
Are you going to go back to sleep, or are you going to get up and go do stuff?
And preparing for go to school.
Oh my gosh. What time do you have to be to school?
Actually, not not. I just go. That's not the exact time because I'm graduate student. So, but I like
using them. So I'll try to bring them into some other classes as well. So it's good to be exposed to things, and then the next time you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. What did it mean? And then every time you see it again, you'll understand it more. So yeah.
Yes, I have a list of most usual vocabulary and idiomatic expression right in front of my eyes.
Nice. That's good. All right. Well, let's go to our article. Let's see if we might come across some idiomatic expressions there as well. You know, a lot of those idiomatic expressions are most found in reading. So if you like to read books or if you like to read articles, that's probably one of the best ways to learn new vocabulary words and new expressions and things. Because even in your own language, that's how you build up your vocabulary. So in English, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of time to read, but if you do have time to read, it's a good idea to read as much as possible. Whatever you like, whatever you think is interesting and fun for you. So it doesn't have to be textbooks or things like that.
I'd want to say that it's